Hey guys, this is Dan with Gears and Gadgets. Thanks for tuning in. So it has now been 90 days since I've provided any content on my 2008 Crown Vic that I bought from Police Auction. Now, to catch all my new subscribers up to speed, I watch a lot of Samcrac, Rich Rebuilds, Cleetus McFarland, Chris Fix, and these YouTube channels that do these car rebuilds and things like that. When it came time for me to get a new vehicle, I decided I'm going to rebuild a car on the channel, something I've wanted for quite a while, and that is an old Police Interceptor. It'd be fun to do that. So just to recap, I bought this car back in February from auction for just about $1,700 with all the auction fees, and it was in Sacramento. So I just decided I'm going to do this in 2 days. So I left work on a Thursday afternoon, and I got back home Saturday at about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So it was just about 2 days that I drove 2,200 miles. It was 22 hours of driving, just living in my truck and driving, basically there, getting the car and dragging it back. And it was miserable. Now, when you buy these cars, really sight unseen, I mean, you get a couple pictures and you're hoping that that's really what you're getting into. You don't know a whole lot. I knew that it had about 97,000 miles on it. I had no idea what the hour meter was on these things. And for those of you who don't know, these Crown Vics, the police cars, they actually have an hour meter, and every hour equals 33 miles is what Ford considers. So the service department then can do oil changes based on hours. They actually base it on miles plus hours, and that's how they do all their services. So for me, I knew these cars come in about 3,000 to 4,000 hours typical in this range when they hit the auction block. So I was anticipating about 3,000 hours. And when I got to the car, I had no idea what I bought. It had 354 hours on it. So, I mean, this car has idled significantly less than any other vehicles out there. What I found out afterwards is it was actually a probation department car. So the full-on Police Interceptor version of the Crown Victoria, bulletproof doors, the whole nine. It is like the detective package, so it has cloth interior. It is spec'd out exactly how you would want one of these cars for a daily driver, and it never saw intensive police work. So I reached out to Summit Racing. They sponsored the entire rebuild series. I owe them a huge debt of gratitude for doing that. Just huge thank you to Summit Racing. So they sent me all the body panels, and I put it all together really in a couple days and got it through the salvage inspection here in Arizona. It was super easy. I kind of anticipated a huge nightmare process. It was simple. So where am I with this car today that I have not updated you guys in the last 90 days? Well, I've logged 8,000 miles on this car. I've added another 40 some odd hours of idle hours, and I've had no problems with the car at all. Nothing. Aside from an oil change, I've not had to replace a single component on this thing. I replaced the air filter with a K&N air filter, which I pretty much do with all my cars. I've done that since probably the day I started driving. I also bought a Bluetooth OBD2, again, not ODB, OBD2 scanner, and it's Bluetooth. It hooks up. You can basically look on your phone and get all the diagnostics of the car, which is nice. I've actually used that to diagnose a brake problem. I do have an ABS module that's bad, but I live in the desert and I don't really run into inclement weather, so not really a huge, I guess, thing that I'm actively trying to pursue. Now, the other really cool thing about this programmer, this OBD Bluetooth scanner, is that with a program called 4Scan, you can actually reprogram a lot of the vehicle to make it more useful. A couple of things that I was able to add is the auto unlock and lock. So when you put the car in gear and start driving, the doors lock. When you put it in park, the doors unlock. Nice security feature. It's not typically added on these cars, so you have to enable that. I disabled dark car. When I first got the car, I thought it was broken, and then through a little bit of reading on Reddit, found out that these police cars have dark mode because when you open the door at night, the cops don't want to be lit up because in a certain situation, they become a target at that point. So it's kind of like a stealth mode. And the best part was I found out that these Crown Vics basically all come with the module in the door for keyless entry, which the car didn't have. Through changing a code, which I won't show you here because I don't want somebody to copy it and then wreck their whole car and blame me that I gave them the wrong information. You can search for it on your own on the internet. It took me about 5 minutes to find it. I ordered the key fobs off Amazon for $10 and they worked. So now I have keyless entry, which I forgot how awesome just the basics of keyless entry really is. So that's cool that I got that working. I also changed a fuel filter just because the maintenance records that I received, it looks like it was never done. It's 100,000 miles on the car. Fuel filter is super easy. Might as well do it. Now for repainting the car, for those of you who came on board, you may have seen that, yes, I tried to spray paint the car. Summit Racing sponsored that whole video, and I am super grateful for that because I don't know if I would have tried to do that on my own just because I was unsure how it was going to turn out. And it didn't turn out great for me. I have no problem saying that. And I apologize to Summit Racing that maybe I wasn't better at doing it. I don't think that spray painting a car is ever the appropriate way to handle like an entire paint job. I gave it a shot. And honestly, it worked really, really well on the fender. It worked great on the front end of the car. Everything looks great aside from the hood. And I think the problem with the hood is that it's a flat surface. I live in Arizona. The car is not curing in the garage for a week. I'm spray painting it. I'm clear coating it. It sits for a day or two, and then I take it out in the sun, and it bakes, and just that paint does not sit well in the sun while it's curing, and it started cracking up, and I have problems with that. So with that being said, the car is going in for a legit paint job at some point. I just don't know when yet. It's been so hot here, 115, 120, that I wasn't interested in sending my car to a body shop and having to ride my bike on some of these days where it's just ungodly hot and I actually have things I have to do at work where maybe I have to be somewhere and can't just be sweating bullets all day long. So bad time of year to do that. I do want to do that going into fall and winter, get an appropriate paint job on this car because it deserves it. The car is in awesome running order. This car runs like a top. And I know that I can get at least 200,000, if not more, out of this car. Now, I also tinted the windows. I tried to do this myself. I was going to film a YouTube video on it. I'm glad that I didn't because it would have been just cursing the entire time. It was horrible. I've done windows before, like just front windows on a truck, which are kind of easy. I've done the tint strip on the front window, which is also kind of easy. I decided to try to do the back windows. I bought a whole pre-cut window tint kit, and I tried to do the back window. I botched it horribly, and then I ended up calling another guy and having him come out to do it, and he did it for pretty much cheaper than what I paid for the kit to do it myself, which was really stupid, and he did it a million times better than I ever could have. So that's done. All the windows are tinted. It looks great. And then I've also added a new radio because, well, the old radio that comes out of these cars, first of all, the speakers are horrendous. They sound terrible. And the head unit is like a CD player, and there's nothing to it. So I actually added a Sony XAV AX5000. I always forget the model number, but basically it was like $400, and I have Apple CarPlay and all of my techie gadgets. I added some Infinity speakers all around, which were, I want to say $80 a piece, so $160 in speakers. And then one thing I added was a Sony, it's an XM S400D amp. It's like a little tiny amp that goes, it's like built in. It doesn't require a whole lot to power up the speakers. It made a difference, but I'm not sure if it made enough of a difference. But I did it because I don't know, figured why not. So I know a lot of guys are going to be like, oh, you're putting more money in the sound system than the car is worth. But the whole idea for me was that I wanted to get a car that had no car payment and get some of the creature comforts that you get out of a new vehicle and have something that's super easy to work on and it'll last me for a few years. And this fits the bill perfectly. And if I can get into it for what I'm into it now, price-wise, have some of those creature comforts of, built-in CarPlay, Bluetooth for audio, calls and things of that nature, and have all my GPS and stuff like that on the dash. That's most of what a lot of people are spending a ton of money on new cars for, is to get those kinds of creature comforts. And if you don't really care what the car looks like, you can get that stuff way cheaper than going out and buying a new car. So that was kind of what I did with that. So guys, again, I thank you very much for tuning in. To all of those guys who subscribed to my channel originally because of the Crown Vic content, it's not over. I love that car. I'm going to be doing quite a bit more with it. I appreciate you guys bearing with me here. It's just, again, there's a lot of things going on right now. I actually have my bike in pieces in the garage because I'm about to be swapping over tires and things. So Just a lot of stuff going on. A lot of stuff going on. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys sticking with me. If this is your first time tuning in, please hit that subscribe button down below. Remember, likes go a long way to help support the channel, and I will see you guys next time.